Today. Good. Well, we're working hard trying to make some corrections and progress as a team. I think it's important for us as a team right now to make improvement. And I think to do that, everybody needs to understand the kind of intensity that you need to have so that you can improve. I don't care what it is that you're trying to do. You have to have intensity. I mean, intensity to an athlete is the same as water is to all of us. You can't survive without it. And it was pretty obvious in the last game when we didn't have the kind of intensity that we needed. We didn't play very well in the first half, and when we had better intensity, we played better. So, perfection is being able to look everyone in the eye and know that you did all you could do to be the best that you could be. And you didn't let anybody down in terms of doing your job. And, we continue to try to get a critical mass of guys on our team to do this, on a consistent basis. And when you play good football teams, it's important that everybody understand what it takes to be able to accomplish that. So, it's important that we keep practicing hard and we keep getting better. The team we're playing has a lot of speed, a lot of good players, know how to win. They've been very, very successful. They're well coached, and we're going to have to play our best game of the year to be able to have success against them. Marcel did practice today and did fine. He didn't have any issues. He probably wasn't 100%, but I think made enough progress to think that, he'll be better tomorrow and have a pretty good chance to play in the game. Jarek Williams is back practicing, but is in a black shirt, had the shoulder sublux, and, just trying to get that calmed down and settled down, and it's probably something that'll have to be addressed after the season.
Couple questions, Coach. First, your team's gone 38 games in a row now without allowing a 100-yard rusher. Can you just speak to the magnitude of an accomplishment like that and the consistency it takes over 4 years almost?
Well, we pride ourselves in being able to play the run. I don't think that we've played the run as well this year as we need to. I think it's an area that we need to improve on. We haven't tackled as well. I think that we need to improve on that. I think when you make mental errors on defense, you also put yourself in a position where you can allow more big plays, whether it's run fits or who people cover in pass defense. I also think that's something that we need to improve on. We've had some pretty good football players around here the last couple of years. We've had, largely the same guys playing for a couple, 3 years that, really bought into how we do things and why it's important to do it that way. And they had a tremendous amount of success. And, this group, we need to continue to improve so that we can have that kind of success and continue to have that kind of success. But, we're going to play against some good players here in the next few weeks, so it'll be an interesting challenge to see if we can, continue having success against the run.
Secondly, just general college football question, nothing to do with Alabama or Florida necessarily, but with the rise of the spread offense in the game, do you sense maybe a lack of appreciation, for lack of a better term, for the value of a downhill running game?
I don't have a lack of appreciation for it. I mean, I don't know who you're talking about. I'm sure there are lots of fans out there that like to see the wide open, sort of run and shoot style of, offense that the spread, sort of emulates to some degree. But everybody's got to choose philosophically what they think is important to give their players the best chance to win. And I think what we've been able to do offensively this year has been good in terms of the balance that we've had running it and throwing it. And I still think that, toughness is a real important part of the game. And, that's something that the reason that we've always stuck with that is that you could build toughness on your team. And that's what we want to try to do with our team.
Coach Saban, you've had 2 turnovers in plus territory against Duke, 2 in the first half in plus territory against Arkansas, and that's not been really characteristic of this team in the last couple of years. Is it just guys trying to make play? And Duke wasn't always the first unit out there, but is it just guys trying, over trying?
I don't really
You know
understand
what it
your
is.
question. You're saying that we've turned the ball over a couple times?
going in against Duke twice, going in against Arkansas twice,
Right.
and just
Well, it's certainly not something that we want to do. I mean, you know, red area efficiency and scoring touchdowns in the red area is, you know, something that we definitely want to be one of the best teams in the country at. You know, I think that the players have to play within themselves. I think when the field shrinks down there, you have to be careful about how you throw the ball and where you throw it. And when you're going to throw it, you got to throw it high and away into the back line. And we didn't do that last week. So it's something we need to continue to work on. And, you know, we never want to turn the ball over in the red zone.
I was going to ask you just about how valuable this weekend is as far as in terms of recruiting, getting a chance to bring in some top recruits and the atmosphere with the new look of Bryant-Denny Stadium and just with a big stage like this, how important that is.
Well, I think it's always important. I think it's important every day. You know, I think the Penn State game was important. We had a lot of players here, and it was a great environment, a great atmosphere. You know, I'm sure that it's going to be, you know, the same way for this game or even more so because it's an SEC game and because it's Florida. And I think, you know, all those things are important. But, you know, our program is just not about winning a game against Florida or whatever. It's about a lot of other things relative to, you know, helping players be successful, developing the kind of character, attitude, thoughts, habits, and priorities to make good choices and decisions, create good habits about what they do as people so that they have a better chance to be successful in life. And that starts with the habits that they develop in school. Developing a career off the field comes from graduating from school. For the guys that have the ability, hopefully we coach them well enough that they can develop a career on the field and maybe have a chance to play at the next level. You know, those are all things that it's a great place to go to school and get a good education here. So, you know, there's a lot more to it than just one game. There will be a lot of good players here, I'm sure, prospects, and, you know, it'll be a great atmosphere.
There's talk of Florida using a new defensive 5-2 this week. How difficult would it be?
Using a what?
A 5-2 defense.
Well, they've used it before.
Okay.
So what's the big deal?
I guess the question would be if they hadn't used it before, how difficult would it be to change something in the middle of the season?
They have done it before, and we do it all the time, and we practice against it every day. So.
You don't play Florida every year in the regular season, but as often as you've been playing in the SEC championship game now, has this become a rivalry game?
Well, you know, I don't know how you define rivalry. To me, rivalry is something that's born out of over history and over time. You know, if you ask Alabama fans, you know, the Tennessee rivalry here is unique to a lot of people for a long time. I think if you ask our fans about Auburn, you know, it's a unique rivalry that has been born through history and over a long, long time. I think the reason that, you know, the Florida-Alabama game is of significance is because both teams are pretty good and ranked pretty high at this moment. And we've played in the SEC championship game the last 2 years. So relative to what's happening now, it's the most important game because that's who we play this week, and they are a very, very good team. But, you know, I think the tradition of Alabama football would be any team that we played that was a top-ranked team that we'd played the last several years, you would say was a big game. Does that make it a rivalry game? It depends on how you define rivalry. And to me, a rivalry is born over history and time. And those other games are, you know, the natural rivalries that we have, regardless of, you know, who has the best team or whatever. It's always an important game to all the fans on both sides. And I'm sure this is, but for a different reason, because you have two really, really good teams that have been really good for a couple years.
Also, the Wall Street Journal last week made your practice of medical red shirts look a little bit shady. Were you disappointed with what a couple of former players had to say, and what your
Well, I
reaction
didn't really
was?
read the article. I didn't see the article, but we don't make the decisions about medicals. I have nothing to do with that. Those are medical decisions that made by our medical staff, and I think we have one of the finest medical staffs in the country. I mean, Jimmy Andrews and Dr. Kane are as fine orthopedic guys that head up our medical staff. We got a great training staff. And I don't have any question about the fact that every player that we have given a medical to, it's been because of the medical opinion of the medical staff. Those guys should not continue to play football because it would put their future in tremendous risk. And those decisions are always made in the best interest of the player. And whether the player agrees with that or not, I can't control. But I don't make the decision. They don't make the decision as players. That's why we have a medical staff. Just like a doctor would determine what your treatment should be if you had an illness. And I think our guys have done a fabulous job of that.